So I got my main man, Sean, here today, one of my top performing clients. He's been with me for years and he's jacked. And let's be honest, pretty much shredded or ripped right now, Sean. Yeah. I'm making you feel a bit fucking embarrassed, yeah, on this intro.
Yeah, you can't really see under this jumper, but yeah, nah.
I know, man. I thought you were gonna turn up shirtless. Come on, bro. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, but yeah,
But the audience will see on the thumbnail anyway, right? And what I want to give, because a lot of my audience are men, but this applies to women as well. Sean has just put an incredible amount of time into building muscle. And this is for, I think Sean's going to share some valuable stuff on like for hard gainers, people who struggle to build muscle, because it's a very slow process. We were just talking about that, right? Off air. But first of all, man, I'd like to get into, because I first started coaching you face to face, right? Back in the day, it was like 2017, 2018.
yeah, that's right.
Because how long have you been in Oz for anyway? Because I know you were in Oz,
2016. Yeah, so
and where you?
years.
Yeah, so you were here a year before me, weren't you? And just for the audience, where are you from originally? Give us a bit of a background.
Originally from Malaysia, grew up in Malaysia, and then yeah, just worked around Europe um, after my 20s, and yeah, just moved to Oz for a different lifestyle, and yeah,
And you're in your 40s now, right?
I am in.
You got a baby face, so people are going to be like, "What the hell? He looks like fucking 20 or something."
Yeah, yeah. I haven't had any work done, I promise.
You got Botox under that cap, definitely. And now he hasn't, just for the record. But Sean's in his 40s now, right? And he's had this transformation, and, a lot, we were saying as well, weren't we? A lot of men nowadays, they turn to like hormone replacement therapy, and there might be a place for that later down the line, but you can't avoid the hard work. And when I first started coaching Sean back in 2017, it was face to face when I used to do the face to face, in person PT. And, you weren't consistent then, right? You weren't consistent.
Definitely
It was
not.
kind of on or off, but you got some motion, you got some momentum, right? You started lifting, but it was very much on or off, right? It wasn't as consistent as we needed to be, and especially you being a hard gainer. So tell us what changed, man. What was like? Was there like a point for you, or like or I like to call like a fuck it moment where you just thought, man, something's got to change because something happened. You switched gears, and then you just started getting more consistent with training. And then we went to a new level.
Yeah, I guess it's something that happens in your life, whether it's personal or it definitely flipped the switch. This was 2022, so 3 years ago, and I was in a full-time role, managing restaurants and stuff, and this thing happened in my life, and it definitely flipped the switch. And so I was like, you know what? It was definitely like you said, a fuck it moment. And for some reason, your brain just shifted. Like it shifts and it allows you to think, sort of clearly. And I remember sort of jumping on the laptop and having a look at sort of Muay Thai camps in Thailand. And because I've always wanted to do that. And well, first things first is I resigned from my role back then, and yeah, just booked the trip. And after Thailand, I remember I was in Thailand for a month, and then I spent another month back home in Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur, and that's when you got in touch with me, or did I get in touch with you? I can't
I
remember.
think I think I reached out to you, and then we reconnected, didn't we? That
Yeah,
was in 2022, wasn't it?
yeah, I still remember it clearly as well. It was November 2022 when you got in touch, and we started just mapping out. And I don't know about you, but I was fully committed, and whether I sounded committed or not.
Oh, you were, bro, for
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, I was training, I was lifting back then as well on my own program, and so this was a bit more structure and yeah, never.
You're also doing cardio, weren't you? I remember you were doing some of the boxing still on the bag afterwards and stuff, weren't you? So you were already doing like pretty much every day, weren't you? 6 days a week or whatever on
Yeah,
your own.
boxing, football, running. So yeah, I was doing quite a bit of cardio, and so yeah, never looked back since. That's been
Sometimes it takes that, doesn't it? Sometimes it's strange that you get have a low point in life. Whether people go through a breakup or they lose their job or they have something happen, and then you go, do you know what? Now I need this, right? It's like one of them ones where it's like, right, I need to escape. You went to Thailand, you planned that well because you went out there, you did Muay Thai, you got consistency with training, then you feel good, then you realize actually I need this for my mental health, isn't it?
yeah. I think it boils down to looking after yourself and realizing that you need to look after yourself. A lot of people, I guess, even myself back then, was like subconsciously, you're like, oh, I need to look after myself, but then neglecting it and not necessarily taking the actions to look after yourself. So,
Mm.
yeah, it's yeah, making a plan to actually get into a routine, whether it's a coastal walk or a walk down to your coffee shop just to grab a coffee. It's taking the steps to actually look after yourself. And yeah.
I love that, man. That's exactly what it's all about. It's about self-care, taking care of yourself. That's the foundation. It makes you more resilient, makes you make better decisions. And when you're not, your emotional health is off, right? Your decision making's off. And ultimately you just feel down, right? It's the best natural antidepressant. So yeah, that was the momentum. So you got that kick. Then 2022, it was like, right, now we want to build, right? We want to actually build a physique. We want to
Well,
do
yeah.
what's going to get me better results in it. So I always talk about this to the audience, but obviously you were doing weights and a bit of cardio. Then all we did is just went all out with weight training, right? So what did you notice and how, because I know you're a hard gainer, so we've built a significant amount of muscle and you're naturally tall and lean anyway, right? But you've stayed incredibly lean as well. So what was it that you kind of was it maybe a challenge for you at the start to build? Was there any challenges that you found were hard? Like how'd you navigate that around your lifestyle with you being, working in restaurants and stuff, right? Which is really hard.
Yeah, I guess it boils down to sort of tracking would be the easiest to, um, if you were to gain weight, you need to track. And at the start, that was in, very, very hard. Um, Increasingly difficult, especially working in hospitality where you're constantly on the move. And um, but if you I guess if you plan your meals and if you plan what you're going to bring into work, that makes it a lot easier. And yeah, being a hard gainer, you just need to consume constantly, but also the right foods and not just binge on junk food just to get the calories in. Because yeah, junk food would be the easiest to get the calories because it's so full of like processed what do you call it? But yeah,
Foods, chemicals. Now that's a good point, Sean. I'm glad you touched on that because I wouldn't have mentioned that. So all you guys out there, right, who are looking to get jacked, and this goes to females as well, right? Because you want to build, but they do what they call like a dirty bulk in it, Sean. And I've done this. I fell into this trap where you just go, right, I want to build, and I've just eat everything I can to build, and that's not really how it works. Because what happens then is, like you said, you're eating poor quality foods and then you end up gaining loads of body fat because those foods make you eat way more calories. And I see this happen a lot, Sean, because this is what you've kind of hit the sweet spot with is the amount of muscle you've gained in proportion to body fat has been insane, really. But it's been slow, right? Like we just said, that's 2022. This is like almost 3 years down the line. You know what I mean?
yeah, 2.5 years.
So talk us through that, right? So because the quality of your food is really good. You drink more milk. We were just saying, when you drink milk like a fucking baby, right? You drink more milk than babies.
Yeah, I consume about like 2 liters a day. Yeah, 2 liters of milk a day.
2 liters is crazy, isn't it? A2. You have the A2 though, right? And you're fine with digestion though, right? You don't have any issues, do you, with that?
No issues. Yeah, it all depends on the person as well. I guess some people can take it better than others, but yeah. A2 as sponsored by Martin. I'm not sure.
Get that milk down, you boy.
There's in a lot of yeah, a lot of these companies, I think.
100%. But you said then about tracking, right? So being aware is one thing. Is there any other kind of advice you would give either the old version of yourself or people in the audience, how you manage to build so much and more importantly, maintain and stay consistent around your busy work schedule?
Yeah, I guess it's easier said than done, I guess, with a lot of people, depending on what industry you're in, depending on what your schedule is. But planning and being consistent are two of the main things. So I've gotten into a habit about thinking what I'm going to eat tomorrow or what I'm going to eat for the next few days, going to the shops and actually buying quality foods, even though it might cost quite a bit. Nowadays, with the increasing costs of like food and stuff, but if you're buying quality produce, it's all going back into your body, and it defeats the purpose if you're lifting and you're doing all the work in the gym and then you're eating unhealthily. It kind of defeats the purpose. But yeah, consistent and planning, I would say, would two main differences for me.
If you've been thinking about working together, now is a huge opportunity because I'm taking on a handful of clients who want to work closely with me on a one-to-one level. So if you're serious about getting results, whether that's building muscle, losing fat, or both, but more importantly, implementing habits that last for a lifetime so you can get results you keep, all you got to do is fill out the coaching inquiry form, which is in the show notes. And worst case scenario, we'll jump on a call and I'm going to give you a game plan anyway on how to crush your goals over the next 90 days. So if we're not a good fit, you're going to get a strategy anyway and a free health assessment. So click the link beneath, answer the couple of questions on there, and enjoy the rest of the episode. Yeah, that's the big one, man. Planning is the key thing because people just try and wing it. And even if you're looking to, whether you're looking to build muscle or lose fat, it's the same thing. You're thinking ahead. You're getting your food prepared. So everyone, nowadays people work a lot of hours. You've got busy schedules. So with yourself, run us through how your week will look, right? Because I know you'll work like 5-6 days a week, right? Working in restaurants, you're working on the weekends. How would you plan your food around that? Like, how do you manage to get enough calories in, Sean, right? Because it's, you need a lot of food, right? You're a hard gainer. We've had to be hitting like 3,500 calories minimum, really, at one point. You know what I mean?
Well, I guess it's not really a sacrifice, but the other thing is also waking. I realized that I needed to wake up earlier in order to consume more calories. Because you can't
Yeah.
wake up at 9, 10 o'clock and then you're kind of just in the hunt for these calories the entire day. Whereas I realized if I woke up at 7 o'clock, I have my fruit and like my double espresso before the gym, smash out my gym workout, come back, have my cereal, milk, yogurt. That's about a good 800-900 calories already. And then I've got my lunch. I consume about 5-6 eggs a day, along with my sort of lunch. And then another 2 hours after that, I consume a protein shake, which I've planned the previous day. I blend the protein shake with milk, and I leave about 3-4 jars in the fridge, so they're just easily consumed. And milk lasts about 2-3 days after that. So, and then if I'm working that night, I consume like the staff meals, and I bring another protein shake with me. And then that should be it. And if I've got time and I finish work a little bit early, I consume another sort of snack. And yeah,
Yeah, good stuff, man. And that's it. You're planning ahead, like you say, you're making the shake the night before and you're just making it happen.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I think a lot of people, they just kind of wing it. They just kind of go with the flow of things. And it doesn't work like that, right? Especially when you're a hard gainer. You're always thinking ahead. How can I get enough food in? I'm busy tomorrow. How can you have to get up early, right? It's like the bodybuilders, right? The elite bodybuilders have to get up in the middle of the night to eat and stuff. So all that being said then, right, what kind of lessons have you learned? What's your biggest lessons you've learned along the way or mistakes, my man, right? Because it's never smooth sailing. I think a lot of people fall into the trap of thinking, okay, I'm just going to get in shape or I'm going to build a bunch of muscle. And they think it's just going to be a straight line of success. And it's actually ups and downs all the time for day-to-day people like me and you where
no
life
doubt.
will get in the way. You know what I'm saying? And mate, there's no shortage of holidays for you as well, man. You're traveling all over the world at the same time. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, even on holiday, I mean, I try to do like band work, like you suggested, and even if you can't get yourself to a gym, but I don't know, it's just having that mentality, and I enjoy it. And the other thing I will admit is my sleep has been sort of not as good as my meal planning, and so that's something to work on. But like I've found that if you get enough sleep, your recovery is a lot better, and you can definitely lift a bit better the next day. Whereas some days you're at the gym and you're like, I lifted the same weights 2 days ago and they feel a lot heavier today. And you're like, oh, you think back and you're like, oh, it's because I had 5 hours sleep, or it's because, I didn't consume enough calories the previous day. Or so yeah, it makes you think like why the sort of the metrics or
performance.
yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Someone was off, right? Like with sleep, if you're not getting enough sleep, and like I'm always hammering home, is coming away from the phone in at like at least an hour before bed. So you're winding down before bed, especially with you when you finish work late and you're wired, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're wired, or I might be really tired on the bus or something, and then get back home and you're still wired. You might be yawning on the bus, but yeah, it's funny.
100%, man. And you're aware of that as well, performance and negative impact. It's another mistake people make. They don't prioritize sleep. And if they're not prioritizing sleep, or at least getting, 7 to 8 hours a night, everyone knows that. But actually, your success for the day is actually set the night before, right? It's like you being disciplined with that sleep routine because you will not perform at your best, right? You're not going to make the gains. You're not going to hit the strength gains
Yeah.
when you're not prioritizing that, right? So yeah, man. So what would you say? Was there anything that made you kind of finally commit? Because I know obviously you were getting momentum in Thailand and stuff, right? Was there any moments where you were like, "Oh, nah, that I'm ready for the next level," or was it just like, you know what, I've got some motion now. Now I wanna build a crazy physique, right? Because it is pretty freaky now the physique that you built, man. I got to give it to you.
Yeah, well, I guess it was curiosity as well to see what I could do with if you put in that amount of work um into something, what the returns might be. And yeah, it's just it's always a journey, and it never stops. It's gratifying. It's yeah, it's good for my mental health. It's just yeah, I feel so much better. It might yeah, you might hear it so much online or whatever. You just naturally feel better after a workout, and yeah,
It gets addicted then, doesn't it? When you feel good after training, you remember that feeling, don't you? And I guess you
it is,
chase that
yeah.
feeling.
It's pretty much an obsession right now for me. If there's one day that goes by and I don't go to the gym, I'm just slightly depressed, or I feel something's off, like something
Mm.
right. But yeah, even if I'm on like a double at work, I'm on a 12, 13 hour shift. I go in the morning and yeah, smash out the workout and then head in. You might feel tired, but you just feel so much better. Just yeah, you just don't want to lose those gains, right?
100%, man. Chasing those gains all the time. But you hit the nail on the head, and I think people need to hear that. You do need to, it's when you don't do the things, right? Let's say you miss the gym for a day, and sometimes, not everyone's going to train every single day, but if you don't train or you don't do something exercise wise, you feel like something's off. And that's because you're not getting that fix. And that's what really keeps you going. I think the self-discipline becomes rewarding in a sense, doesn't it? People think, oh, how do they do it? How do they get in that shit? Oh, I couldn't do it. It's too much.
Yeah,
People think they have to rely on willpower, but from what you're saying, because I feel this too, it's actually enjoyable, that discipline, right? Because you feel so good.
you
And,
do.
and let's be honest, when you look good, bro, you look in the mirror, you see those, if it's a good feeling, like, that internal confidence goes a long way.
But even that routine, like if something is slightly off in your routine, whether I'm OCD or you put a label on it, but like if I wake up, like if I notice I forgot to buy oranges or whatever, I don't have that orange in the fridge, and I'm like, oh shit, my whole routine's screwed up today. I don't have that orange. I've just got a banana. I'm like, yeah, every day you're doing the same thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
it might just be my OCD. But yeah.
No, that's not. No, I think that's a good thing though, right? So I feel like people will say that, right? Some people will say, "Oh my God, it's obsessive." Like actually doing I always say to like clients, if you can have like, I don't know, 4 to 6 meals that you use all the time and you stick to the same meals, that's fine. People always think that they got to constantly rotate everything and, got to be diverse and all this stuff we hear. But actually, no, you've got to do what's really simple. And number one, you got to hit protein. Definitely, man. How do you get the protein in there, my man? How do you manage that?
Proteins usually like my most common meals for lunch are like spaghetti bolognese or spaghetti meatballs and chili con carne. Uh, and then on my days off, I try to definitely get in a steak or
Hey, there's a milk as well.
yeah, 2 liters of milk, half a roast chicken. Um, but yeah, and especially with working out or lifting heavy and stuff, I've definitely found my appetite increasing as well. So you're just like constantly hungry. Your body's just constantly screaming out for like food. Like after maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, I'm hungry again. So yeah.
How do you manage that though, right? Because that's tough trying to get ahead of the hunger, right? So let's say you got to work, it's flat out, right, Sean? It's a Saturday night, let's just say, super busy. You might not be able to eat, right, for several hours sometimes.
Yeah, well,
So do you,
I'm sorry to cut you off. Yeah, I
oh,
found
go on.
a glass of milk definitely helps in between.
There we are. That's a simple fix, man. It's
People
so simple. All
take
the nutrients
take
you need as well.
definitely cuts that hunger pang. And then yeah, when I've got a bit more time, then I'll take my protein shake once, say around the 9 p.m. mark. And then yeah, definitely because you can't really I don't really want to take like a slice of bread or trail mix or nuts or whatever during work hours. So a glass of milk is the simplest, or 2 glasses of milk.
Mm. Yeah, 100%, man. That's the thing. And if people they can digest it, don't get any issues with like lactose and stuff, like A2 milk
Yeah,
is
most definitely.
generally better.
Yeah.
Then it actually gives you everything you need. But we were just talking, weren't we, before this about you need to eat a bit more meat, right?
Yeah, definitely.
because having that bit of a rotation could be a good thing. But at the same time, though, because you're having milk, again, you're getting all the nutrients you need. You're getting the B vitamins, you're getting all the essential protein and fats. You get everything you need. So if you can digest that, that's great. So really, with someone like yourself, obviously we just talked as well, right? So we've been, just for the audience, obviously we've been building primarily, right? Even for like the last 2, 3 years, for sure. And it's a project just to build muscle, right? It's really hard. It's really slow. You're a hard gainer. So we're constantly trying to get enough food in. We're constantly switching up the train. Well, every 4 weeks we'll change the stimulus, like you should be doing anyway for anyone. But you're naturally having enough protein. So that's the most important thing, is having enough protein, having the right training stimulus. But in your case, it's actually being in a surplus all the time, right? You have to actually be in a little bit of a calorie surplus to build muscle because you're lean and you're a hard gainer, like we said. But all that to say as well, having more, having more variety and having some meat and stuff like that, having a bit more can be good for when we want to cut, right? Because if you're having loads of milk all the time, the calories kind of add up, right? So we were just talking then, right? We want to throw in a mini cut, and then we'll probably have leaner cuts of meat and stuff like that, right? And people hear spaghetti bolognese, they're like, fucking hell, how the fuck can you get away with that and still stay lean, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to the steak and the weight cut, or like the weight cutting phase, but nah, they're just micro sort of tweaks in like we talked earlier,
Mm.
micro tweaks into my regime. But yeah, it's good to get the odd kind of different type of protein, especially if you've been consuming the same thing every day. But yeah.
Mm. Yeah, but it's convenient as well, like you say. So what would you say, man? So if you go back like to look at the before and after, right, which the audience should be able to see now anyway, the old skinny version of you, right, versus the more jack version, right? What would you say like has changed in terms of that person, in terms of benefits you've had, right? From building muscle, being stronger, being consistent, mental health. What's changed in those two versions of yourself? Because it's two different people, right?
I would say the two main ones would be mental health and self confidence, and I guess discipline. You've no idea how much sort of discipline is involved until you actually like really, really dive into it. And this is the first time in my life that I'm kind of stuck to something, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
Back in school, yeah, definitely not stuck with anything. Maybe football, but I was, a love, or like a passion. But yeah, it's having that discipline, and that leads on to looking after yourself, and looking after yourself, you're looking after your mental health, and your mental health is good, self-confidence is good. It leads on to the next thing, and it's a chemical reaction. Yeah.
Definitely, man. So in what way would you say your self-confidence improved? You just feel more, because you, even when you get physically stronger, right, and build muscle, it's kind of like your self-esteem goes up. There's research on that. Would you feel like it's more you're more confident about, how would you kind of explain that to the audience, that feeling of self-confidence? Because a lot of guys would be listening, they're like, yeah, I want some of that. You know what I mean? I'm struggling with that. I want to stick to something. You know what I'm saying? Because most people have never been consistent, or like they can't remember the last time they were consistent for like a whole year, for example. This is going on, 3, 4 years now for you, you know?
Yeah. Self-confidence in the sense, obviously the way you look, and well, I guess when you're physically strong, you want to be mentally strong as well. So, and you can't have one or the other, in terms of you've got to be mentally strong to be physically strong as well.
100%.
Sort of mind muscle connection you always talk about. And so I mean, I can't put a foot down as to exactly what self-confidence I have, but I just feel generally a lot more confident. And you can notice that in the way you walk, or the way you
100%.
carry yourself. And back then I used to just, maybe slouch a bit more, and just you're constantly thinking about something, and you're just in your head all the time, and worrying about the next thing, worrying about this. So yeah.
It works wonders, then, it just going to lift heavy shit every day, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like you say, it's almost like we humans need that, right? They need to do challenging stuff exercise wise. It's almost like how can you not be anxious if you're not training? Like it's obvious to me that you are going to be anxious and you're going to be off mentally. Where does it go? It's almost like you're exerting that, right? You're kind of releasing it when you're training, right? And that's one thing as well I've noticed with you as well, is your relationship with training, of course. Now you love it, don't you? You love lifting. I'm saying it wasn't like that before. Now you fucking love going to the gym, lifting heavy stuff. What is it I guess what you enjoy the most about training, and what is it that you've learned in the gym in terms of results? What is it you learned about training, about your body, or any particular lifts that you've learned in terms of like really move the needle forward kind of thing?
Um, well, going back to what you say, I do love it, but on the days that you don't love it, you gotta sort of still put in the work, and that's what the whole discipline thing's about. But when you do actually get the work done, um, it starts being natural, and you feel good, and you're like, all right, this is why I'm here. But to answer your question, just constantly, well, I think we were talking about this a while ago, where your gym IQ gets better.
Mm.
The more time you're in the gym, and like ways to sort of lift a certain way in order to avoid injury, or the shoes you wear, like not being like sort of vain or anything, but you need like flat shoes to lift, when you're squatting, or a lot of people take their shoes off and whatever in the gym, but I don't think that's a great idea, because I've heard quite a few horror
Popping
stories. Yeah,
plates on your
plates
barefoot.
on toes, and
Oh,
um, but yeah, like I think the gym IQ, and like not being not being too scared to ask a question as well in the gym. Even no matter how many years someone's been lifting, and like I'll just ask a PT or whatever, hey, what's this exercise you're doing? And be like, oh, and then, well, it's a funny thing. Like the other day, I noticed someone doing those calf raises with the hammer curl. The is it
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
yeah?
I've seen that.
Because I noticed the other day they were sitting in front of me on the leg press machine, and I was doing the hammer curls for my calves, and they were sort of like looking at me like funny, like what's this guy doing? And the next week, I noticed them doing the exact same
With the
exercise.
hammer curl, do you mean the preacher curl machine?
Not for your hamstrings, the hamstring.
Okay, yeah, yeah, got it. Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, so the hamstring, the leg curl, you mean, yeah?
Yeah, the leg curl machine for your hamstrings. Yeah,
The lion one, right? Where you lie and then you just sit down and put the pad over your knees
probably-
instead.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, man. So always, learning new things. But again, man, it's a case of being consistent. You said something then as well about when you don't feel motivated, right? I think that's when people get twisted. It's like Sean just said, there's some days you don't have enough sleep, whatever's happening, you don't want to train, and you feel it in the gym, right? I've had a few of them workouts recently, but it's also listening to your body as well, right? To get the results you've had. Like we both do it though, right? I know we both do this. We push more than we should sometimes, right? But you're still showing up, right? Which is the key thing. And like people, they wait for motivation to train when it's actually no, the motivation comes after you get momentum and results. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? They get it the wrong way around.
I
Can't sit
wouldn't.
around waiting for motivation.
Yeah. No, even if it's like pouring outside, I'm not trying to sort of blow my own horn, but yeah, just just get the work done, even if it's like half an hour, um, or like 45 minutes, and then I've got to like rush home to get to work. Any sort of movement is good.
I actually say that to my clients, man, to some of my clients anyway. I just say, look, go to the gym. And if you look, I know whatever you feeling off and everything else, how about just go to the gym when you get there? Some of us have to drive to the gym as well, right? When you get there, if you want to leave, leave. Like once you've got the effort to get in the gym, most people just don't leave them, right? You're there, then you start training instantly. Even within a few minutes, you get a blood flow to the brain. You start feeling better, man.
Yeah.
You never leave the gym, do you? Going, I regret that. Should never have done that. Should never went to the gym. Like you don't do that, do you? It's rare anyway,
Oh, definitely.
unless you've overtrained or done a monster leg session.
But yeah, definitely. Uh, can I add something as well to your previous question? The other thing I've learned is definitely not to ego lift. Um, Regardless, like, just focus on form, technique, and disregard like any sort of noise that's to your left or to your right. Like people just I've seen so many people just ego lifting, and like lifting as heavy as like it just for me it defeats the purpose, and I find so much more um, I guess, efficiency and effectiveness with like form and technique, even though it's some people might call it the less of a weight, but yeah,
No, that's something I got to give you credit on as well, man. I see you grinding out those deadlifts and stuff, right? Remember when I used to train you in person, you used to really struggle with them, right? And you've really and that's what Sean's alluding to is really looking at it as practice, right? Like, for example, you enjoy playing football, right? pretty good at football actually. Playing football is a skill. Like you're not just gonna turn up and work out and hope to win. Like you go and it's a skill. You try and get better at the skill, right? Or get better with the team you're playing with and show up for training, practice, right? It's the same as the gym. You go to the gym, you got to practice. I'm so glad you touched on this. Is looking at it as practicing the movement and executing the movement
Properly, yeah.
good, proper, all the, and you're really good at this. I've seen the videos as well. Obviously, you send them on Instagram sometimes, right? Look at your technique is improving, and you're focusing more on the mechanical tension, and that's the number one most important thing. They've done research on this. Is a few things, right? Mechanical tension to build muscle, mechanical tension implicating muscle damage, right? So when you've got like damage in the muscle fibers essentially, and then it's metabolic stress. But the number one is actually mechanical tension, what they find in new studies. So the muscles don't know, from what you're saying, because as men as well, right, bro, we look around the gym. I do it even sometimes now, but like it's rare. Ego lifting, you're lifting way heavier than you should. Like you're throwing reps away. And you never get that rep back. I remember I had a bodybuilder prepping me before for a show, and it was a woman actually. She was a fucking beast. She
Yeah,
was
right.
like, "You throw that rep away, you never get that rep back." You know what I'm saying? And it's stuck in my head. People are throwing reps away for fun, bro, and you never get that rep back.
To put it, yeah.
Yeah, and like your muscles don't know how much weight. And what Sean's saying, right, is your muscles don't know how much weight you're lifting. It's how much tension do you apply to them, right?
Tension, yeah, the mind muscle,
Really good point.
yeah. Just focus on getting the movement right, and you avoid injury because, like, if you cause a serious injury, you won't be lifting for like maybe months or a week.
100%.
Yeah,
And imagine that, man, right? Because like Sean is in his 40s now. He's been consistent lifting weights now, super consistently for the most part for like almost 3 years, right? And if you can just not get injured, it's magical what happens. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. Like if you're consistent, the only thing stopping you really other than not doing the work is injuries, right?
yeah.
So
And
yeah.
that's another lesson that you learned as well, because I remember, I think there was once where I did a deadlift and I could feel a tweak in my back, and I told you about it right after as well, that I stopped it straight away. And it's just, then when you think back, it was like, I was attempting a heavy lift without sort of, different variables. I don't know, like lack of sleep, or you're not in the right mind frame. You're not, it just, and then never again, just got to be in the right sort of mind frame, the right sort of space. Yeah. Definitely not attempt a heavy lift under those circumstances.
Nah, man, that's the best way to screw things up, innit? You know what I mean? Before we wrap it up, bros, what kind of advice would you give to, like, if you said to people, right, they're thinking, I want to build muscle, I want to get that physique Sean's got. You know what I mean? I want to be lean, because a lot of men in particular, they struggle to stay lean when they're building muscle. Now I know genetics play a part in that, but what advice would you give to anyone? And it could be like you've touched on consistency, you've touched on like planning ahead, or even the old version of yourself. Like, is there any advice you need to give to yourself or those people to get into great shape?
I mean, everyone's different, but the big question is, how bad do you really want it? Like, do you really want it, or are you just doing this for someone, or doing it for just for the fun of it, or I don't know, just thinking really hard. What is it you want to get out of the gym? What is it you want to get out of your fitness journey? Whether it's, I don't know, high rocks or whatever, just actually boiling it down to what is it you really want. So, and that's one of the questions you asked me back when you were asking whether I should come on board, and so yeah, and get in touch with Martin if you're really interested. So
Sweet, man. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, to wrap it up there, bro. I appreciate you sharing all of this. Your
appreciate
your
you
experience.
letting me on your podcast. Yeah.
It's great to have you on, bro. Honestly, it's been awesome. And I think they'll get a ton of value out of that. And again, why I like these conversations is because, like, it's no fluff, because people see all this shit online and before and afters. And it's like, no, actually, it's training stimulus, hitting protein, right? We know that's the two most important. Having enough calories if if you're someone who's lean, like Sean, you need to be in a surplus. We know that. You can ask ChatGPT for that. But the real thing is, being consistent, becoming setbacks. Sean said there's some days he didn't want to train. He showed up anyway, and he really wanted it. And I could see that. That's why I was asking you the questions on the call, right? Why is it important to you and all those kind of things? So yeah, if anyone does want to find out more about the program, then just click the link in the show notes anyway, and you can fill out the coaching inquiry form, or just drop me a DM on Instagram, actually, at Martin Silver Fitness. I'll leave that in the The show notes there, my website's in the show notes as well. So you can just drop me a message and we'll see if we can help you. But yeah, bro, it's been great to catch up, man.
No,
And
likewise. Yeah, we'll catch
take
you soon.
definitely, man. We'll catch up in person for sure. We keep saying it.
All right. Take it easy.
Cheers, bro.
See ya.